I mean, I think a lot of it is just simply the jobs. Like it's just simply the jobs because so let's say this. Let's say you spent 10 years in the penitentiary. That means you've done something real bad, right? You spent 10 years. Okay. So when you get out, how hard is it going to be for you to find a job? Very difficult. Very difficult in certain states. So then you resort to what your old days, hustling, selling drugs, doing this, doing that. And I think that's where people get the institutionalized mixed up with just trying to survive. I think some of them are just trying to survive the best way they know how. And since they can't get a job making this amount of money, I'm going to resort back what I used to do and slang and sell and do everything else. That's how I feel about that.
I mean, but why don't we start saving? If you work, save, so you don't put yourself back in that predicament. I mean,
but if you can't get a job, if you can't get a job, you can't save. That's the hard part, is finding the job.
I think that needs to change, because if you did your time and you're out, you did your time. You know, that's the whole point of jail. The rehab is done. You completed it. You passed. You should be able to go back into society without that.
They just passed a law where they can't do that to
oh, really?
With that, yeah, they just passed that law, and also they passed a law where they can't.
Wait, but what law? Wait. What law?
They made it to where they cannot go to somebody's criminal past, and also if they have like smoke marijuana. Well, I know here in my city. Listen, I know here in my city, I don't know about y'all, Florida, Texas, Missouri, or whatever. I know in my city, they are taking people at temporary services that have backgrounds, and they're putting them in these factories. That's not true here for me. I can't speak for y'all, because my children's father has a criminal background, and he works for Starters, been working there for the last 6 years as a cook.
My dad, he works for a factory. He works for P&G.
So that's not true.
That's in Ohio. So getting a factory job, some factory jobs will allow you to work with a history, right?
And restaurants.
But you got to think about, where are you living at? Okay, is there a factory around? Are you able to get back and forth to there? The restaurants don't pay you enough. You cannot go up in management with a criminal record. So
well, I'm telling
you're going to be stuck making minimum wage, living by yourself. You can't find. See, down here, minimum wage won't cut it. I was making $60,000 a year.
Live amongst your means.
No. Hold on. But see, when you say live amongst your means, you got to think about what the area where people live in. So the cheapest apartment for a studio is $1,500 in Florida. In Fort Lauderdale, where I was living at. And now, mind you, I could have maybe gotten 13, 14, but I'd be in the hood, right? And I didn't want to live in that area, because I know what trouble I can get into. But I was paying $1,500 a month, and that is not even in a bougie area. That is still a low ball area for Florida. So depending on where you live, $15 an hour, $10 an hour will not pay $1,500.
As an adult, and the decisions that we make or made beforehand, we would have to suffer the consequences and get your shit together. Save up your money so you can live above amongst your own means. Make sure that you know what you need for yourself as an adult. If you know that shit costs $1,500, don't go to $1,500. You're gonna have to lowball for a minute and live in a lowball area.
There is none.
At least in Florida, there's no way.
You can pay $750 a month, but you're renting a room from somebody in their household.
And then that's how you gonna be until you get up on your feet to be able to pay that. You have to work yourself up to the top. It just don't come.
That's true.
It just don't come like that. You have to work yourself up.
That's the thing.
Chef, you know what they're doing here?
What's up?
This is a brand new building that's opening up in downtown Orlando. I could see this becoming more of a thing in Florida because of how high cost of living is here. It opens this year. It's like this huge apartment complex, like huge. It has like restaurants built in, entertainment, all this shit. And they're offering an option. They have the traditional, like, you know, you can rent it 1 bedroom, 3 bedroom, like a regular apartment.
I don't agree.
But they started a new option.
Wait.
Not you, wine box.
Option of renting.
Not you, wine box.
They're having a new option of renting by the room to make it more affordable.
And see, so here's the issue when it comes to renting by the room. for one, Florida does run background checks.
Oh wow!
Run background check on housing. Period.
They do it here.
But when you're renting a room from like let's say from a family person, they have an extra room and they're renting it out. Okay, they don't want no felon living in their home. That $750 rent is cheaper. You may not be able to get there because you gotta get your own place. Because I wouldn't want no. I mean.
You know what I feel like, Chef, like Wine Box was saying? I feel like once a person has done the time, remove it from their record.
Yeah.
Remove it from their record. Give them a brand new start. You know what I'm saying? So like,
because you can pass laws saying that it can't affect their employment history, but at the end of the day, if they're still running a background check and that pops up, as a human being, that's going to be in the back of your mind when you're selecting someone.
Yeah, if I did the time, you say, you do the crime, you do the time. Okay, I get that. Let me do my time. But give me a brand new start. Once I do my time, erase that shit off my record. Now, I was able to sue a background check company because, you know, as a youngin', I fought a lot and I built up a record for myself. I then started to clean up my life and I went to nursing school. They allowed me to go through nursing school until clinical. They pulled 4 of us out of the class, me being one of the 4, told us that we do clinical based off of our backgrounds, right? Well, the problem that I had, guys, was that I paid over $20,000 to expunge my record. Yeah, I know, Chef.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. But understand this, St. Charles Parish was charging $520 per charge. Okay, let me just put that out there. That's not including a lawyer.
Ooh.
Just to get it
What
exposed.
state are you in?
Right. St. Charles Parish, I am in Luling. That was Luling, Louisiana at the time.
Wow.
But they had went up to $520 per charge, okay? So talk about make it harder for you, right? Okay, but it's okay. I did it. Y'all, we accomplished it, right? My family helped me, got together, we raised money because I was off to bigger and better things. But then when I went to go apply for a job, getting to my point, right? They still had that there. And I'm like, hold up. I done paid for all this to happen. And we're not talking about y'all a couple of months later. You know what I'm saying? This was like a year after, because we all know that I have to stay in clinicals for a while. So I'm like, no, we did this. So what happened was I had to get a lawyer and actually go up against the company, you know, these background check companies that these people be paying, because everybody that they pay don't be on their shit. But because it cost me, you know what I'm saying? It cost me some of my career. It cost me a job. I was able to win over $20,000 from this company. So I do think that once you go to jail and you do the time, and you, especially if you did your time flat, or you know, you took certain classes in there, right? Give a person a new beginning, because nowhere,
especially if you're young.
Yes, nowhere where you go is easy anymore. That's why I fear for the youth. I fear for my sons, because each year is harder, it's much more expensive. Even the rich is complaining. So I know about the mid-class, and I consider myself a mid-class woman. So if the rich is complaining, think about how our kids are going to feel in the next 10 years.
Yeah. But y'all do know it's set up for us to fail. It's not set up for us to be on top. Chef, what you got to say?
Well, I mean, it's just also the way things are now. I don't know if it's different by state.
The cost of living is way higher than it was 4 years ago. When I bought my house 6 years ago. And my daughter is paying $1,700 for a townhouse. You get what I'm saying? And she's 24 years old. This is not set up for our bracket. And
but
wait a minute. Let me finish. I did save my way up to buying my house. I did save my way into owning 2 companies. I did that for myself because I knew how I wanted my children to live. So everybody don't gotta think the same. Everybody don't everybody breathes the same, but we don't think the same. I wanted my children to live a certain way because I didn't want them to live how I had to live. So I most definitely saved my way up to having what I have. So if I want to live a certain life that I'm accustomed to, I'm going to make sure that I do that. And I'm going to make sure that myself, I can't speak for nobody else because I don't pay rent. I own. It's a difference.
So when AJ said you can't save your way out of poverty, you gotta make more money. He's right. So let me explain it like this. So like, let's say I'm making $10 an hour. My rent is $1,400 a month. I can't afford that rent, right? I can't save money.
No, I saved money.
Wait, hold on. I'm not through. So I can't save because I'm giving up all my money for bills. The only way you can save is if you are a person that spends. If you spend too much money and you're in poverty, that's your own fault. That's for anybody. But
Period.
if you have the extra money and your bills are paid, then you can save. But you can't save your way out of poverty. You have to legitimately make more money.
Well, I'm gonna tell y'all like this.
Wait, hold on. So that's like me. So when I first moved here, right, I was making $10 an hour. Of course, me and my mom lived together. I couldn't afford my own place. She couldn't afford hers. We both got a raise and a promotion at our job. Now, mind you, I went up to $60,000 a year. Anybody could tell you, if I was in Oklahoma, I'd be living on top of the world. If I was in Alabama, I'd be on top of the world. But in Florida, I'm poverty. I'm the bottom. I can barely afford to pay my rent, food, electric, all that other stuff. And there's no assistance if you make that kind of money. So saving my way out of that is not an option. I would have to find a hustle to make more money to be able to save that extra money to get out of it.
And during that, I am saving in whatever I'm doing. Any job, I'm the kind of person, I'm throwing $100 to $20, $30, whatever I make out of my check, and I'm also taking that and paying my taxes. I'm taking extra out. See, everybody, like I said, everybody motivation is different. My motivation is my kids. I have 4 children, 2 grandchildren. So most definitely, if I'm working and I was, say my high-low job, I'm going to get a job that pays more. I started working at a high-low and I was getting paid $26 an hour. When I left, I was getting paid $32 an hour. So with that being said, I was saving my money for how I wanted to live with my children. I can't speak for nobody else. I can speak for what I did. You get what I'm saying? I can speak for how I did things for myself and how I saw my vision of me living. I don't have a vision for how somebody else is living. If I'm taking my money and throwing it in the safe, knowing that I can't go to McDonald's this week, I can't go out to eat and drink with the girls, I can't do this, I'm going to save my money for how I need to live for me.
But if you don't even have that extra money to save, you can't save. That's what we're trying to say. And when it comes to certain states do not pay what it costs to live. Florida does not. Now, Michigan does, Ohio does, Oklahoma does, Arkansas does, Alabama does, Tennessee does, Georgia does. Those states, the rent is a lot less. Now, I'm not going to say that those states don't have people in poverty, because they do, because they have lower paying jobs. But when you look at it as a whole, they cover the cost of living better than New York, better than Florida, better than California, better than some parts of Texas. But
I get it.
That's just,
I get it. It's hard. It's a hard world out here. But y'all, I grew up somewhere else doing other stuff. I grew up in a whole nother era. I'm not in.
Hey, AJ.
I grew up in a whole nother era. So how I do things is probably not how everybody else do things. You know what I'm saying? I pay my bills in the beginning of the month. Like I said, I don't have a mortgage or rent. I own my property straight out. So sometimes you have to. For other people, you might have to strategize. What?
Wait, friend. Do you still pay taxes on your?
Every 6 months, I pay my taxes. Okay. So every 6 months, for those 6 months, I'm saving up.
Correct. But that's not the point I'm about to speak on. When I say that, knowing how America works is what I'm saying, because I'm just much more on a deeper level of that. Not to change the topic, but in America, we own nothing. If you pay taxes on anything, you don't own it. America is a manipulation corporation, and that's just what it is, and that's why I operate on a different level. We can say that we own this and we own that. No, that's what they have us thinking. You have to have a certain type of documentation which none of us is available to, or even could get our hands on if we tried to in America. And that's why I made my statement. Like, I took up some extra things. Somebody else put me on it, and once I really started researching things, my mouth dropped because of the homeowners and the landowners and things of that nature, and we use this term so loosely. However, when these people decide to come and take things from us, they can just wipe it from up underneath our feet. And our mothers, like you said, you as a mother, my mother as a mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, everybody that built generational wealth in this world, we don't really have it. And with that being said, y'all could just carry on with that conversation.
Well, I'm gonna say this because I'm a rebuttal. Rebut to what you're saying. Sure. I don't own the land, but I own the deed, and until they're able to take the deed, then that's just it for me. I'm just gonna pay for where I am, and I can't worry about nothing else. You know what I'm saying? I just got to worry about how I raise my kids. And yes, I am too much because I do think for myself. I am very too much for a lot of stuff, and I don't believe shit stank until I smell it. Let's just put it like that. All right, and I'm gonna be quiet on that.
I feel what you guys are saying. I've lived in a lot of different states, and I'll tell you, like in Kansas, I was able to live very comfortably, even with the pay rate, but that was just because I had one of the better jobs. But even that was not enough to get approved for certain cars or houses, even if it was something small, like certain rentals. Like if I wanted to get something in another town from where I was in Kansas, it would have been twice as much. But minimum wage was not covering that. So I lived in a smaller town, so I was able to afford it. But when I ended up moving to other places, like when I lived in Texas, I was barely making enough. And I was a GM because of the base rate of pay that they were giving us. The same thing here in Arizona. I'm also a manager here in Arizona at my job. I'm making well more than a lot of other people. But with the cost of living, which I literally I don't splurge my money on anything. At all, because everything that I pay to goes to my car, goes to my rent, goes to my insurance, it goes to diapers and food for my kid.
Mm-hmm. The rent is too damn high.
I don't waste a penny. I don't go out to eat. If I do go out to eat, it's on my daughter's dad's dime because I'm not paying for it.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that sucks is most places you have to make was it 2 or 3 times?
3 times. Some places. Some is 3.
My 2-bedroom is $2,600 a month, and it's just me and my partner.
Mm-hmm. I live in a studio and I'm paying $13. Mm-hmm. And it's actually not even really a studio. It's the size of a studio, but it technically is a 1-bedroom. But it's so small.
Like a junior 1-bedroom.
Yeah.
Like a junior, yeah. Mom's like a junior.
I feel like a college dorm would be bigger than my house sometimes. Like one of the little college, the larger college dorms. Mm-hmm. Like when you have the doubles, that literally is about the length of my apartment.
Okay.
And it sucks because we want to buy, but with the way the pricing is and the interest rates are now, you're forced to rent because I'm not going to pay freaking $500,000 for a piece of property.
Yeah. Me either one. But I would never buy a house in Florida, and I keep saying that because what you get for the amount of money you can pay $300,000 for a condo, and it's not even all day. It's a bare minimum.
It's small. When my daughter told me she paying $1,700 for a little 2-bedroom, I remember when I was her age, I was paying like $450 for a whole house.
No, friend, did you actually go see that? Did you go? Have you been to her apartment yet?
They waiting to finish it.
Okay, I want you to go visit it and look at the square footage, and then you go call me friend and say Nikita, because that's how the hell I felt when I was doing tours in some of these apartment complexes. And like you say, you don't even have a porch, you don't have like a balcony in half of these places, you don't have like a little backyard. Chef, y'all know what I'm talking about. Then they're charging you out the ass.
She said 1,700. I dropped my draw.
I'll give you an apartment for it right now.
What?
If you want.
Like, you gonna charge me to park my car, but yet
right,
you have the gates open so anybody can come and park, and you're always starting to.
She said it was $250 for her dog. She said it was something else. Oh, she had to have her own lights and gas, but they paid for the water. It just floored me, like 1,700 though. I'm like, dang.
I mean, I paid over 5,000 moving my apartment, and it's a junior 1-bedroom.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Wait.
Is a 2-bedroom?
Where you was moving from?
No, so at that time I was homeless and living inside my car because I wanted to save much money. So like when people say you can save and save, no, you can't unless you're homeless, live in a car. Then you can save your money and build it up. So that's what I did. I saved my money living in my car, and thank God I worked at the gym. I was able to go take a shower every day because I worked at a gym. So I was clean, lived in my car, and it was a junior. It's the same apartment. It was $1,500 a month, but to move in, you need first, last, security, all that, and it's over $5,000 by the time I got paid. By the time I paid application fees, all that, it was over 5,000.
They want you to make
that's a lot.
I'm like, excuse me.
Yeah, and they want access to your banking account, your taxes,
and every year it goes up on top of that.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So what I will tell y'all, it is always good to have a hustle or have a business of your own, you know what I'm saying, on the side, because that do bring in extra money. So when I did say I save money, that comes from a long line of me doing other things in life though. You know, so that's not really saving. That's basically getting another job, basically, or getting another line of work. and the issue is with felons, it's hard for them to even get work beginning. So that was the issue, because like it's hard for misdemeanor people to get certain jobs too.
No,
though, Chef.
No, it ain't.
Chef, okay.
Because you can get a job with a misdemeanor anywhere, almost anywhere.
Chef, I had a hard time getting a job at a hospital because I had a misdemeanor.
At the hospital, though. Hospital and banks are a little different.
I disagree with you, Chef. I disagree with you. The reason why I say that is because when it comes to majority of jobs, what are they? They're medical
customer service.
They're medical jobs.
You're talking about a job that pay real money.
Yes. Customer service jobs, how may I take your order, is not going to pay you nothing. Now, when you're working in the medical stuff and you're doing like CNA, CMA, RN,
phlebotomy,
you literally can lose your license just because you have that small misdemeanor.
I'm telling you that because I have a phlebotomy. I'm certified to be a phlebotomist.
That's what I just said.
And it was hard for me to get a job because they said that my misdemeanor was more high.
That's literally exactly what I just said. Hospitals and banks, you won't be able to get a job there because if you have a misdemeanor. That's literally what I said.
But I was able to get a job at a bank with that same misdemeanor. Sorry, Kayla. I was able to get a job at a bank with the same misdemeanor. I just couldn't work in a hospital.
Okay, but that's a niche of jobs. As for someone who works in human resources, and I'm well versed in federal employment law, like it's not hard for a person with a misdemeanor to get a job. We are looking more towards people with felony.
But that's nowadays. That's nowadays. See, when I was doing it, they was giving you a hard time. Y'all got to remember, my age is different from yours. I'm like 10, maybe 15 years y'all plus. So we had to fight to get this far in order to be able to do that. You get what I'm saying?
Well, no. My mom had a misdemeanor and she worked for nursing home for 15 years with the misdemeanor.
It's depending on what it is, though, Chef. It's depending on what it is.
I know people who have worked for government contract positions and had misdemeanors.
It's just depending on what it is. It's depending on what it is. Now, felons, they get it the hardest.
Yeah. What were you saying though, AJ, when you were saying about what you were saying?
What? No, I was just saying that's a niche of jobs, like medical and banking. Like there are plenty of industries outside of high security positions.
Yeah. So being in human resources, do you see a lot of felons get turned down? And is it because of the felony itself, or is it because the type of charge they had?
We're getting a lot better in our field.
Hey, Salito.
Actively looking at the charge. So it's definitely a mixture. It depends on who you're interviewing with, what position you're interviewing for, and then how forthcoming you were with the information during the interview process. Truly, we're only looking at background checks to gauge how trustworthy an applicant is, So
can you elaborate on that part?
Right. He's right. If you tell them up front.
What do you mean by trustworthy? Like consistent?
If you telling them up front what you got going on, no. If you telling them up front and then they go and look at that background check and see that you were telling the truth, they will consider you more because they figure you as an honest person once you came in and let them know what you had going on in your life.
So there are a myriad of reasons why we'll look at your background check. One of them is how trustworthy you are, how consistent you are, but also what are the length of those charges. Maybe you just had a bad year and we can see that in your background check. Maybe you have a charge solely because you weren't paying your child support. That has nothing to do with us, truly, So there are a lot of things in your background check that would come up as a felony that we're not going to browbeat about,
Okay.
And so there's so many aspects when it comes to us looking and reviewing background checks that it doesn't necessarily disqualify you from the job, but it's definitely some like hoops that you have to jump through. And there's absolutely been people who I have absolutely been enamored with in the interview process, and it comes back that they have something in their background check. And those are the moments where like the HR team is sitting around and I'm going like, no, F you guys, this guy was fantastic, And so like those are the moments. Just like come in, be yourself, be genuine, and hopefully that takes you through. Now, I was reading the comments and Kita said, I'll lie, I'm gonna take my chance. And I feel like those are the people who I'm gonna be like, well, I'm good, thank you.
If you find out.
Yeah.
When? No, it's not if. It's gonna be when they find out.
No, that's the whole point. What you were saying. I'll lie.
If they lie, probably about little stuff, little minute stuff that they might not find out about.
Did y'all hear that, man? Like, this is coming from a criminal.
If they gonna do a background check,
this is coming from a criminal. I was a criminal. Like, this is coming from a criminal, and trust me, I got more on jobs for lying than telling the truth. Because a lot of them, they will hear your business and act like they're so concerned. And then when it comes down to the board making a decision on you, guess what? You won't get your ass in there. Okay, it's probably a small percentage of people that get in from telling the truth. And I know what's on my background, but let me say this though. I'm also not applying for jobs that I know my ass won't get into.
Right.
And I'm so glad I ain't got to do that no more.
Yeah, I'm not gonna set myself up for that, but in this life in corporate America, they've been lying to us, and I've been lying to them, and now guess what? I'm a wealthy motherfucker. I'm a wealthy motherfucker because I lied.
So here's my little story.
that's what I'm a lot of here.
And AJ, tell me if you've ever had this or okay. So basically, I went for a job at a staffing agency. I have no record. I have been to jail before, but I have no criminal record. I have no felonies, no misdemeanors. I'm clean as a whistle. And she ran a background check. And she, hey Marty, and she told me that I lied to her. She called me on the phone and said, "You lied to me when the background check came back." And I said, "Excuse me?" She says, "You lied." And so I went in. She showed me the charges, and I'm like, "Ma'am, this was 1989. I was born in 91. I'm a junior." So what she told me is she ran the background check off of my name and not my social security number. She told me next time to let them know. But do you know I still didn't get that job? And I kind of feel like that has that played a factor because my dad has
that's why I want to change my
extensive charge.
name.
And I think they seen his rap. She's like, "Oh, birds and feathers flock together. I put them from the tree," and they clocked me and didn't hire me. Now I was well qualified for the job. Why would you run a background check and not hire me?
That's why I want to.
See, that's why I was saying you can pass laws, but at the end of the day, it's the human making that decision. So if they see something, you can't stop people from creating that.
Yeah, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So did you ask her why? I mean, so why would she like? I'm not understanding. So you don't hire me because of what my father did, and y'all have the same name. So
they're not going to say it. They're going to say we found a different
They
candidate.
have to give you that information. They'll let you know on the application. They do not have to tell you why they didn't give you that position, and they not. If you're not hired, you just not hired.
Right. So during the interview process, you don't have to tell anyone why they didn't get that position. However, if you were offered a position and they ran a background check, you do have to show something called adverse action, which is you sending out information based on why the position was taken from a person.
I guess I see it wrong. I just want to know what was her reaction. Like when you told her that was my father, what did she like? She didn't give a care. Like, oh my God.
I was wondering that too.
That's what I'm.
I mean, to be honest, I really don't remember. I think it was like just like, oh, and I showed her my ID again, and she was like, oh, okay.
Oops.
But it's kind of like a shock, like or like a, or I don't know. I really don't remember, and I really don't want to make anything up per se.
I'm gonna be honest and tell you what I think happened.
Please.
Even if you were a shoo-in for the position, I think that you may have been the last to know that you would have been disqualified for this position due to your background check. And so at the point of you clarifying that your background check came back incorrect and that wasn't your record, they had already moved on with a different candidate.
I was about to say that.
Bingo, you right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I was about to say. They probably had already hired.
So unfortunately, you were disqualified due to your record. However, that didn't play in the final decision. You know, like after the correction, it was just
due to an error.
Right. It's literally just like, oh shit, my bad.
That's crazy
because they didn't want to punch no numbers in. They decided to put your name in instead of punching numbers.
I mean, it's probably embarrassing for them too.
I mean,
somebody would have got in trouble though. If somebody here would have rolled because you put in their name and not the information. That's an error on your end. So cover it up. I'm gonna just move on to the next candidate. Well, he wasn't qualified. Let's just move on.
But to be honest, I always thought when jobs run a background check, I thought it was naturally run off the social. I never knew they used your name just to run a background check because there's a lot of people with the same damn name. Now, I do have a unique name. There is not nobody other like me besides my dad.
I don't know what background check service that she was using. However, I've never used one where I could just run a name.
Okay, so it's faulty.
Yeah, my mom on a daycare and she have to use the social security numbers when she's hiring a state certified teacher. She has to run everything. She have to do extensive background check on them. And that's the first thing they ask for is your social security number. They're not asking for your name. They ask for the suffixes behind it or whatever like that or whatever. And then they ask for your social security number. Because I ran background checks for my mother before. And she need a copy of your social security card. So I don't know what she was doing.
How you doing today, AJ? You sound a little bit blah today.
I'm just vibing, having a conversation. I feel like I'm contributing where I can contribute.
No. Oh, you good? Oh, you good? You just seem you good. You good? I was checking, make sure you good.
I'm good. Thank you, baby.